Hello, my name is Paul Nguyen. I'm with the Vietnamese American Heritage Foundation. I am interviewing Jake Nguyen as part of the 500 Oral Histories Project here in Denver, Colorado. And today is July 22nd, 2011. Jake, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. So what we're doing today is we're interviewing Vietnamese Americans from various generations and various backgrounds to collect 500 individual stories as part of our overall collection of the Vietnamese American narrative that is going to be comprised of our history. This is a nationwide project so that we can have pockets of different stories from different types of people, different types of backgrounds to really capture the broad scheme of how diverse our people have become over the years since the fall of Saigon in '75, from the journey across seas to the early years here in America and how life was like then. So if you could start by telling me your full name, where you were born, when you were born, and where you grew up.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Jake Nguyen. I was born in Vietnam, in South at Dong Nai, and in June 1986. And I grew up. I came here when I was 12, so I grew up here partly half my life here. And yeah, so.
Okay. I want to focus first on the 12 years you spent in Vietnam. Can you tell me a little bit about your earliest memories as a child growing up in Vietnam? What do you remember about your neighborhood, about your family, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, the neighborhood is nice. It's so much different from here, because pretty much the people there, they're not wealthy, but they take care of each other so much. They really care about people around them. So like, I'm living here in US, the neighbor, we don't even know the face of the neighbor. So that's the difference between Vietnamese culture and American culture, yeah.
Can you give me an example of what happened as far as your neighbors in Vietnam that made you believe that they are more, friendly, more, caretaking of each other? Do you remember one instance specifically where you can remember?
Like, like when I got sick, pretty much cause back then me and my brother and my sister pretty young, so the neighbors come over and help me out, take care of me when I was sick. So yeah, that's one of the examples. But there are more than one, so yeah.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have 5, and then one passed away 2 years ago. No, 5 years ago, yeah.
5 years ago? Yeah. How about your parents? What do you remember about your parents growing up in Vietnam?
In Vietnam? Well, I don't know how they grow up though, cause
no, when you were growing up, what do you remember?
Oh, with my parents. Well, my parents they divorced. They don't get along with each other, okay. But still we have a yeah, me and my siblings, we very closer than them, cause my dad was gone because the was it the communist thing, they put him in jail to to learn the system. So they put him for years, for I think a few years, and after that he went to Hong Kong in 1991, around there. So he left me when I was maybe 3 or 4. So yeah, so like I never have like a family meal, pretty much. So then he went to Hong Kong, and he moved here during 1993, yeah, and he brought us over, me and my brother and my sister, in 1999. So.
Okay, so during the time, well, first of all, why did he move to Hong Kong?
The big reason is, to find freedom, pretty much, because after the war, the 19 the South Vietnam and the North Vietnam War, after the South lost, so pretty much, whoever belonged to the South, they pretty much lose everything, land, freedom, and all that things. So my dad have no choice. So he tried to escape the life there, try to find a better life, hopefully in the U.S. So he ended up in the U.S. Yeah.
So during the time he was in Hong Kong, you, all your siblings, and your mom were still in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Well, what was life like after he left?
We struggled so much. My mom, she brought us like places to places, because it doesn't work out this place, and so she moved to another places. So I was born in Dong Nai, and so my dad left when I was 4. So after 4 years of age, we moved to Saigon, and then back to I think Yalai. And then from Yalai, we moved everywhere, so pretty much. Yeah. And then my final, because my original place is, because my original parents' native place is Huế. Yeah. So we moved to the south to find a better life, but it didn't work out. So yeah.
So you moved around a lot, and you had just a mom to take care of 6 kids?
Well, I'm the youngest one, so my oldest probably like 20 something, by then, so he can take care of himself, and my older siblings can take care of themselves. But pretty much like four of us like still young, so she took care of us. Yeah.
So what did she do to put food on the table and to make things work?
What is it?
How did she support the family by herself?
She she bought not a house, but like a house. The house is in the market. Like there's a lot of markets around there, so the house is in there, like a shopping market, and we live in there. And she, when in Vietnam, they the place where they live is where they make business. So she was selling like the groceries and all that. Yeah.
So your dad made a difficult decision to leave the family. You said he was divorced by your mom before he left, right? At that point.
Okay, it was like this. So after the war, we moved to South Vietnam, and I mean they struggle a lot, because they lose everything. So when life is struggle, things happen. They have arguments, stuff like that.
Sure.
It didn't work out. So my dad decided to. But that's one of the reasons. But the main reason is, they they don't have the freedom. That's why, and it struggle is bring all that mess. So that's when my dad left the family to come to the U.S. with my brother though. So one of my brother he went with him to
the United States,
to the Hong Kong and United States. Yeah.
So at what point did the rest of your family come here?
Well, to like to get together with family. Yeah. Together the family.
So right after.
In 1999. So he went to the U.S. in 1993.
So
and
6 years later.
6 years.
5, 6 later.
Yeah.
How did you feel when your dad left? Did you feel that you understood why he left, and you don't blame him, or do you harbor deeper feelings about that?
Well, back then when I was young, I didn't know the reason why he left. I didn't know the reason. It was maybe both economically and politically. Yeah, But I think it's more like politics stuff that affects everything, affects life. So I didn't blame him. I was very proud of that. that he did that for all of us. Yeah.
So once you all moved to America in 1999, how did life change?
It changed a lot. How so it's from the poor. Over there it's poor, so that over here is wealthy. So it's different. It's freedom. It's everything. Yeah.
What did your parents do to make a living in America?
My father he was working at the Denver Post. He was a newspaper carrier. So he worked. No, he started at landscaping first, and then 2 years later he started working for Denver Post until now. He just got laid off last year, 2 years ago.
And then once your mom arrived in 1999?
No, she just moved here 3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, he just brought 3 of us here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So the family was separated.
Yeah, almost pretty much like our family never be together because I don't know. Yeah.
So is anybody still in Vietnam right now?
My oldest brother is in Vietnam, but me and the rest is over here. So we just brought my mom over 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah.
How is she adjusting to the new life here? 3 years is still pretty fresh.
Yeah. Well, we help her out, but she suffer a lot too. You know, from emotionally and economically also. Yeah.
So are your parents still together right now, or what's
no, they're not, because after my dad's gone, she struggled a lot and she has no choice, and there was a man. So she have kid, like one kid with the other man. Yeah. So
Okay.
because that's how, because she needs a lot of love. That's why she suffered a lot. Yeah.
Did you have that child in Vietnam or in America?
In Vietnam. Yeah.
So where is that kid now?
In Vietnam still. Yeah.
Does she talk about the other man and the?
No. He's not even her husband. Like he just he's like the wealthiest guy in that city. He owns like 3 or 4 jewelry stores, But he cheated on her so bad, and that's why my dad they divorced. So my dad doesn't bring her over, we just bring her over. So yeah.
So what are some of your? Well, how did you come to America? Was it just by playing?
Plane. Yeah, my dad did the paperwork.
Okay.
Yeah, so we came over plane. Airplane.
Do you remember what it felt? How old were you when you arrived in America?
12.
12.
Yeah.
Can you remember how you felt when you first landed at the airport and walked around and saw this new country?
Yeah, it was completely different. Yeah.
Were you scared, excited? What?
I'm alright. Okay,
Yeah. Did you feel sad leaving your homeland?
Yeah, I miss a lot of friends and life there. But I gotta move on, find a better life here.
Do you feel that you do have a better life now?
Yeah.
Let's go back to when you first came here and started thinking about school. Did you enroll in school right away, or did it take a little time, or what?
I got here in the summer of 1999, so I just went to school right after that in August.
Can you talk a little bit about how it was like going to school as immigrants?
Yeah.
How did people treat you? Did you feel like you belonged? Did you get along with everybody? How was life like in school?
It was nice because the people around in my school was nice, especially my school. There's some Vietnamese students, so I make friends with them, and then there's some other racist people, other races. But they are nice. So I adapt the life and yeah, It's easy.
Did that continue? Did people continue to treat you good during high school and college?
They treat me pretty good. I don't see there any problem between different races, you know. Yeah, so I think everybody's equal here. You know.
What was the most difficult thing adapting to the new country that first year, a couple years or so?
I think it's the language. Yeah. But I think it was all right to learn it because I think 12 years being a 12 years old boy, you know, can learn a language easier. Yeah. Yeah. So I think I'm happy with being myself, you know, right now.
Was it helpful to have older siblings around you during this time?
Yeah, I heard a lot from people say that the youngest one always get indulge and is being lucky, you know. But I don't feel that way though.
Why not?
Well, because especially my brother, that my next brother, the older one, we've been like the best buddies, and I lost him 5 years ago. But he's the one that I love the most. So he make me feel like you know, like he takes care of me. So, but rather than that, I don't feel like you know, I'm more like independent. So yeah.
What was your brother's name?
Vin, Nguyen.
And how old was, or how many years apart were you?
3 years apart.
Can you describe some specific examples of what he did to help you out when you guys were younger?
There's a lot of things he helped me, but like study, for example, like help me do math and stuff like that. And chess, he taught me how to play chess in when I was 10, I think. And I haven't played chess for years. So once I was a freshman in high school, I stopped playing chess over here. And I took first place in state. Like I tied first place in state as chess, in chess, yeah. And then was it 5 years ago? I went to the World Open, and I took first place and won $13,000
Wow.
in chess in Philadelphia, World Open. So
you must be very grateful that he taught you how to play.
well, I play under 1600, so it's an okay level, you know. Yeah.
Do you mind? You don't have to answer. Do you mind if we talk about how he passed away?
I don't mind. It's fine.
Okay.
So he was driving, and there was a drunker, and that drunker was underage. He was running on the opposite side of the highway. It was on Highway 6 in Wadsworth. And so that guy was driving opposite side of the highway, so they collide, and he passed away right there, right after that. And it was like a most shocking news for me. Like the saddest thing I ever heard.
And how old were you when that happened?
It was 5-6 years or so. It must be like I was 20. Yeah.
20.
1920. Yeah.
It sounds like he was had a big influence on your life when he was alive. When he left, did you feel like your life changed?
Yeah. Yeah, he was a big influence in my life because we did everything together. You know, like me and my dad. Like we don't talk that much. It's kind of weird. It's been me and my dad, we don't talk. And my dad have that feelings real bad, you know. But me and my brother, we just like one person, you know, like easy, very close.
So what is your relationship like with your dad and with your mom at this point?
My mom's living. She's living at the housing right now, different place. But I live with my dad still. my relationship with my mom is closer than to my dad, because my dad has that negative inside, you know, like he always thinks, yeah, he could. I think he doesn't like my mom. That's why. That's why he's affected on us. But he shouldn't do that. He shouldn't be like that, you know. But it's okay. We grow up, you know.
Do you feel that after your brother passed away, did it change your dad? Did it change your mom?
I don't think it changed my dad, but I don't think it changed them. But they feel suffer. So yeah. I think it changed me. He when he passed away, like I think I should work harder and you know, try to be successful in life. Yeah.
So when you were in high school, did you have to work any jobs, or did you just go to school? Did you do any extracurricular activity?
Yeah, I did. I played soccer. I was a president of the chess team too, and I joined the robotic club, you know, the robot club. And what else? I did math club, you know, yeah. And I was working as a custodian, you know, like sweeper, you know. So I did it in middle school also. So yeah, I got paid by $6 an hour and no tax, because it's you know, we still student. I think no tax.
How did you feel about that job?
It was fun at first, you know, but then later on we were bored because it's dusty, you know. There's a lot of dirt.
Where did you work at?
I worked at the same school where I went to, so George Washington High School. Yeah.
And you attended college after high school?
Yeah.
Which college?
So I applied to a few of them, and I got accepted to a college school of mines. So I went there a semester, and then I took some classes at Red Rocks to make a cheaper price, you know, cheaper tuition. But I go to school of mines.
You currently attend?
Not right now, because I owe some college tuition.
Okay.
But eventually I'm gonna have to finish the degree. Yeah.
What's the degree?
Mechanical engineering.
Okay. And why did you choose that?
Because I think you know, the world needs to have more invention and more new stuff. You know, maybe airplanes need to get new type of airplanes. Yeah. So I really like to work with airplanes. You know. Yeah.
And did your parents have any feelings about that choice of career when you told them?
I think they care a lot, but my dad don't talk to me that much about career. I pretty much chose on my own. But I think inside, like, he cares a lot, but outside he don't want to show. That's pretty much how all the Vietnamese dad, you know. But that's a bad you know, habit, you know. If they love, they just should show, you know. They just talk to their kids. But my dad, you know, they never talk to. He doesn't talk to me like those kind of things. You know? Yeah.
My dad's the same way.
Yeah.
Why do you think dads, that generation, Vietnamese dads, older generation, are like that?
Because I think they want to be get respect from the kids, and they don't want to be like very close to the kids. That way, you know, they don't think that the kids is their friends. You know, the kids is yeah, and they always been strict because, you know, like because they always think that they're older, and I mean, yeah, we know that they're older, but you know, I see that American style lifestyle, American dad, they just see, you know, their kids as just friends, you know. They're willing to talk to them, you know. But a Vietnamese dad is different. They want to talk, but they love inside, but they don't want to show it. That's a whole different thing. yeah.
So you mentioned your dad doesn't talk to you a lot. What do you remember your mom or your dad saying to you as you were growing up? Did he give you any advice? Did they tell you any stories? Anything you can remember?
Well, my dad always say that, you know, just study hard. That's it, study hard. But he doesn't show like pretty like effort into it. But he just say that study hard. That's it. You know? Yeah.
Why do you think he cares so much about education?
Because education will give people knowledge, and so knowledge can makes life better.
Do you remember anything about your grandparents?
My grandparents. Well, both of my grandfather on my dad and mom's side passed away, so I didn't ever see them. But my grandmothers, I've seen them, and they were pretty. I lived with them for a few years, and when I left to the U.S. here, and she passed away right away. So, but she, they pretty much. Old-fashioned, so pretty much, yeah.
Do you remember what kind of food your mom would cook in Vietnam when you were younger?
Oh, I miss the food, Vietnamese food. She cooked like soup, canh, you know, canh, yeah.
What kind of gun?
Like cá and like fish and stuff like that. Yeah.
Does she still cook that?
She cooks here, yeah. She just moved here 3 years ago, so I miss the food that she cooked. From 1999 to, yeah.
So it's good having her around to cook meals.
Yeah.
Yet, huh?
Yeah, it's very good. I really miss the Vietnamese food a lot because right now still I pretty much like I eat outside and got sick of the food.
What are some other favorite dishes that you have that she cooks?
Pretty much I really like fish, because fish is healthy, I think. So any food, any flavor of fish, like maybe grill, soup, makan, and yeah, stuff like that, or fry. Yeah. So.
Cá kho.
Cá kho, yeah, cá kho. Yeah.
You remember anything about the war? It was before your time, but do you remember your relatives speaking about it? Remember seeing maybe family photos of military involvement, anything like that?
Yeah, I hear a lot of stories of war from, not from my dad though, but like uncles and like, yeah. So what was the question again?
What do you remember? What kind of stories?
Oh, okay. I remember some stories, but they are long, so.
You want to give a quick summary of one of the more interesting ones?
Wars. Yeah, like when I think it was during because here's the thing, my dad left me when I was young, and we don't have a good relationship, even if we live together. He doesn't talk too much, but so that's why he doesn't give me a lot of stories. But I hear stories from my uncle and my aunt. They mention about, it was during the French War. First that my oldest uncle was he was about like 5, 6 years old, and there were two of his sisters like about 13. So they ran away from the wars, and they were running on the beach, and I heard something that bullets like flying around like on top of their head, but when they run in, escape from there. Yeah. So yeah.
Do you remember how you celebrated, birthdays, New Year's, all those different holidays in Vietnam? Can you tell me a little bit about your memory of those celebrations?
Yeah. I'm not a birthday guy, so I never celebrate birthday. But New Year, I do. But since we don't have a united family, it turned out okay. But like, it wasn't like the happiest one.
So what do you do then?
We do the same way, same thing as the other people do, like cook Tết and and eat mứt, yeah, stuff like that. Bánh tét.
So you mentioned about your dad being a very not very communicative.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll be anything like that when you become a dad?
No, I won't. Never be. Won't. If I have kids, I would treat them different. Not treat like it's different from my dad. Like talk to them always. If they need anything, talk to them always. Always talk to them. Yeah.
Do you think Vietnamese culture is going to change over time because we live in America now?
I think it changed. It will change, but I like some Vietnamese, tradition, culture.
Like what?
Like respect the elders. Yeah, and education for kids is the top priority. And what else? Yeah, this is, I don't know if like girls before they want to keep virginity before marriage. No, I don't know about that, but I think it's a good idea, but but it's okay. Yeah, so.
Did you ever go back to Vietnam to visit since you moved here?
Yeah, I went. Okay, I haven't been back like in 7 years since I moved here, and since my brother died that year, we brought them back to bury him over there. So I moved back together with his body.
Why did you decide to do that instead of burying here?
Oh, because we want to put him together with our family, like our grandparents, uncles that passed away. We want to bury him in the same place.
So you have a family burial.
Yeah, like in Huế. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen when your parents, your siblings get old and they die off too? Or are they going to be placed in the same?
I'm not sure about. I'm not too sure about that because they probably gonna run out of land.
Yeah.
Or no places for them to bury. Yeah.
But they would like to if they can.
Yeah, they like it to. Yeah, that way. Yeah.
What was it like the first time you came back to Vietnam? How many years had passed since you moved to America?
So it was 7 years, 6 years.
Okay, so do you remember how you felt when you first, stepped down, walked around the country? Did things change? Was it exactly what you remembered? What did you feel?
I feel totally different. Like, it changed a lot, especially Um, Especially they have higher technology now. Yeah, but and yeah, they develop a lot in Saigon and even Huế. But
Did you have time to go back to your old home, your house?
yeah, we bury him in the same town that I lived in, but not the places in the south. Cause before I left Vietnam, I was living in Huế, so the Huế was the last place. That's where my that's my family from. Yeah. So.
Who lives there now? Anybody?
Oh, the house that I was living in right now, nobody living there right now because they use that as a place for the whole family trees. So it's like the place that they put the altars, like to worship. I mean, yeah. So pretty much, so it's nobody living there right now. Yeah, it's for the dead. Yeah.
Do you have cousins, aunts, and uncles in Vietnam, or?
Yeah, I do have a lot.
So did you get to see them while you were there?
Yeah, yeah.
How was it like spending time with them after spending 7 years in America? Was your Vietnamese not as good?
No, my Vietnamese was good, but I'm saying like I don't see too many friends anymore when I came back, but I still see my uncles and everybody except for my friends because they grow up and they go everywhere. So
your family, your aunts, uncles, cousins, they treat you the same when you came back, or did they see you a little differently because you live in America now?
Yeah, it's they're the same, but yeah, they surprised me when I came back and get bigger and yeah, so yeah.
What they say to you? You remember?
They say, "Oh, look, how big are you now?" And yeah, they pretty care about me. Yeah.
How many times have you been back total since you moved back to
Okay,
America?
so that year, after that 7 years, that was my first time in 7 years. So yeah, I met a girlfriend there.
Oh.
Yeah. So she went to okay. So before I left, I was sixth grader, and I was a captain over there, and she was a like assistant captain. So like we I think we liked each other back then, but we never talked since I moved here. So during that year when I brought my brother back, my friend like there's one few friends still there, but they took me to her house. They were like, "Do you remember Thuy?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah." So they took me to her house, and yeah, I know her from there. So we love each other now.
And she
So
still lives in Vietnam?
She's in Vietnam still, yeah, and it's been 5 years. I've been back like I think three times after that first visit. So 4 times total. Yeah.
Any plans on bringing
Oh
bring
yeah.
her over here?
We had a lot of arguments lately.
About that?
Oh yeah, a lot of arguments, but
Why? What does she want? What do you want?
well, I was busy lately too, and it's just arguments like randoms, yeah, arguments, yeah.
But she does want to come here?
Yeah, she want to be together with me, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where we live, but she wants to live with me. Yeah.
Would you ever consider moving to Vietnam to be with her?
If I cannot bring her over here, yeah, I might, because it's. But no matter what, she has to move here because life better over here, and yeah, I'm trying my best to bring her over here. Yeah.
So you think if you did have to move over there, your life wouldn't be as good, even though you're with the person you love? You think because you're in Vietnam, you have less opportunities, or what?
First of all, yeah, I try. If you saying like if I cannot bring her over, like, then, yeah, I might consider if I cannot bring her over, like the worst scenario, I might move over there, and I think with my I think I can do pretty good over there because I can teach English or there are many things I can do over there. You know, regardless, there's less chance opportunity over there, but still I can find things to do over there. So yeah, if that's a worst scenario, but I don't think I'm gonna. It's gonna happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Do any of your parents know about her?
Yeah, they do know about her.
Did they meet her?
One time. Yeah.
Do they like the idea of her coming to America?
Yeah.
And what do you think life would be like once you get married and have kids? Because she spent most of her life in Vietnam. You spent half of your life in Vietnam, half in America. So moving forward with that kind of cultural background between two people, how do you think your kids are going to be? What percentage Vietnamese culture? What percentage American culture?
I think even if she was born here or whatever, I still when I have kids, I just teach them about the Vietnamese culture, language, and all that Vietnamese.
Language and what else? What else is important that you want to pass down to your kids?
Like culture, like that, like some good ones. Like I say, like respect the elders. What else? Yeah.
What about food?
Food also, yeah, food. Because Vietnamese food is more, I think, it's healthy. It's way healthier than American food. Cause,
Do you know how to cook?
Yeah. Recently, I know how to cook canh chua, yeah. Like cá, yeah.
You're gonna teach your kids how to cook that too, right?
Yeah.
So you mentioned I wanna close the interview pretty soon, but I wanna mention one thing which seems to be a strong theme in your story, which is your dad doesn't talk too much. He doesn't say much to you, and you don't want to be like that.
No.
So what are some things, some advice, some memories that you want to pass down to your kids one day? What if they're watching this video, which they probably will one day?
Yeah.
What do you want them to know about you? What do you want your kids to know about Vietnamese culture, Vietnamese history? And what do you want to see them do with their lives? What kind of advice can you give them?
First of all, they have to learn Vietnamese. And they have to learn Vietnamese culture, respect the elders, and I want to let them know that family love is the most important thing, because you suffer if you don't have it, which I suffer, and it's very important to be friends with them, like always talk to them. Everything inside, just let it out. Just let it out. If I love them, my kids, or in the future, show them. If I want them to do this, do that. Talk to them, advise them. So pretty much everything that my dad did, I don't want to follow the same way, because that will hurt my children. Yeah, and I like to learn them to know that they have to appreciate, because Vietnamese parents, they take care of kids more. They love kids more, and like the way they take care of kids, different from the American culture. So they should be proud being Vietnamese. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to thank you for talking about some of the things we talked about today, because I know it can be very difficult, emotional,
Yeah.
some of the content we discussed. And I thank you for your time. Do you have any other remarks, any other memories, anything you want to say about yourself or your family that we may not mention that would complete your story today?
Yeah, I think freedom and love is the most important thing in life. So I think we are fortunate to be here in the U.S. that we have all the freedom here, and love is the what we turn out. You know, what we make. You know, it's based on us. You know, the love, but freedom is different. Yeah. So those two, if we both have those two, then we're gonna have a good life. You know. So in the future, for me, I will find a way to have love for everyone around me, especially my family in the future. Yeah. So yeah. Yep.
I completely agree, and I think your kids will be lucky to have you as a father.
Well, I wish that I will do a good job. Hopefully.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time, James.
Thanks, Paul.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you.